In the bamboo forests of the Taebae Mountains, two fellow disciples, Seongjun and Jinseo, train side by side, preparing for the day they will face each other to claim the title of Taebae Boxing Grandmaster. After a short sparring session, they meet their teacher, Master Lee. He explains that in this land, three great martial arts schools have long existed in peace. From Mount Changbai comes Changbai boxing, a style known for raw power and deadly combat techniques. From Mount Kungang comes Vajra boxing, which teaches fighters to understand human limits by respecting harmony with the world around them. And here on Mount Taebae, where Seongjun and Jinseo have trained for years, they practice Taebaekwon, a martial art built around the body's meridian center. With its technique, a fighter can block an opponent's strike and counter at the same time, all through movements so subtle they almost look effortless. Master Lee reminds them that they have lived and trained in the Taebae Mountains for more than 20 years. Their skills now surpass every other student, and both are worthy of the Grandmaster title. But tradition allows only one to hold that honor, so he tells them to prepare themselves, because their match will take place the next day. That night, Jinseo is meditating alone in his room when Seongjun suddenly walks in. Seongjun cannot believe the day of the fight is already here, and he asks to sleep in the room with Jinseo, just for the night. Jinseo is caught off guard. They used to sleep together often in the past, but something about tonight feels different, and the request leaves him uneasy. Jinseo tries to send Seongjun away, but Seongjun refuses to leave, staying no matter how much Jinseo pushes back. The next morning, Seongjun wakes up and immediately realizes Jinseo is gone. In his place is a letter, addressed both to Seongjun and to Master Lee. Jinseo writes that Seongjun is clearly the better fighter, and the one who truly deserves to become the Grandmaster of Taebaekwon. Instead of staying for the match, Jinseo chooses to leave the mountain and explore the world. This is where everything begins. This is the therapist, Fist of Taebaek. 7 years pass. Seongjun now lives in the city, married to a beautiful woman named Bomi. He works as an acupuncture therapist, using the skills he developed over years of discipline. But Seongjun does not treat his gift like a business opportunity. He often refuses payment, especially from the elderly and the poor, and his kindness constantly frustrates Bomi. To her, it is not that simple. There are bills to pay, rent to cover, and a home to keep afloat. Bomi pressures Seongjun to stop treating everyone the same, because if they cannot earn enough, how are they supposed to raise their child properly? One day on her way back from the market, Bomi notices a long line outside a massage parlor. Curious, she asks a woman named Baemin, who is also waiting in line. Baemin explains that the place is famous for helping people lose weight, and they are even offering a discount for first-time customers. Hearing that is all it takes. Bomi immediately sees an opportunity. She hands Baemin a business card and tells her that their own acupuncture clinic offers a special massage program that can help people lose weight quickly. When they arrive home, Boemi asks her husband if he knows which acupuncture points can help someone lose weight quickly. She explains that she has an idea for a business that could make them rich in no time. At first, Seongjun does not feel like answering her question, but when Bomi threatens to destroy his therapy statue, he finally gives in. He explains that there are indeed certain acupuncture points that can help reduce appetite, but they do not directly cause weight loss and never work 100%. Hearing this, Bomi feels relieved and inspired. She immediately tells her husband to get ready because many customers will soon be coming to their place for acupuncture treatments. Elsewhere at a gangster hideout, the group leader, Yong Ho, meets a man named Dai Ho. Yong Ho assigns him a task to intimidate the residents of Jir so they will leave the area or sell their properties cheaply for a major development project. He orders Dai Ho to finish the job quickly, no matter how he does it, because the faster it is done, the sooner Yong Ho can reunite with his wife and daughter. Meanwhile, Baemin arrives at Seongjun's acupuncture clinic, full of excitement and high expectations. She believes the session will be long and deeply satisfying. However, she is shocked when Seongjun only presses one point on her body. Feeling disappointed, she complains to Bomi, saying she felt almost nothing at all. Bomi quickly steps in and explains that this was only the beginning, meant to understand her body condition. She asks Baemin to wait for the second session while enjoying a cup of special herbal tea meant to help with weight loss. Bomi then goes inside and scolds her husband, telling him to take his work seriously. If he keeps treating customers this way, no one will ever come back. Seongjun explains that he already targeted the most important pressure point to reduce hunger and prevent digestive problems. But Bomi does not care about the explanation. All she can think about is their future and what will happen to their son if the business fails. Elsewhere, Dae-ho is seen brutally taking down dozens of thugs guarding the Jeer area. These men were hired by the Seojin group to secure the construction project. After defeating them, Dae-ho warns that they have 2 weeks to leave, because the Taeping group will soon take over the project. At a local preschool, Min-ho, the son of Seong-jun and Bo-mi, is being bullied by other children. The worst of them is Seong-min, the son of a doctor. He mocks Min-ho, claiming that his father is a fake doctor and that his work is illegal. The insults push Min-ho too far, and he finally punches Seong-min in the face. Enraged by what happened, Seong-min's father, Ji-ho, confronts Seong-jun. He demands an apology and compensation for his son. Ji-ho continues to intimidate him, boasting about his higher social status and looking down on Seong-jun. Even though Seong-jun could easily defeat him, he chooses not to. Instead, he quietly strikes a pressure point, leaving Ji-ho frozen in place. Bo-mi is shocked by what her husband has done and quickly apologizes for both his actions and their son's behavior. At a fast food restaurant, a TV reporter named Hee-won is on the phone with her producer. She sounds frustrated because she was promised a story about something viral happening in Jeer. Instead, the producer now wants something completely different. By chance, Hee-won overhears 2 women talking about their diet. One of them, Lee-se, mentions that ever since she started acupuncture treatments, her appetite has gone down, helping her stay on track with her diet. Hearing this instantly sparks Hee-won's interest. She decides to visit the acupuncture clinic herself, hoping to turn it into a story for her next article. Not long after, Bo-mi receives a phone call from debt collectors. They give her a final warning to pay off her debt by the end of the month. If she fails, they will take everything from her home. The threat leaves Bo-mi shaken, especially since Seong-jun has no idea she ever borrowed the money. Soon after, Hee-won arrives at Bo-mi's shop and hands over her business card. She explains that she wants to feature the acupuncture clinic in her program. That night, Bo-mi excitedly tells her husband that a reporter from a popular reality show has come to see them. Bo-mi believes that if their clinic appears on television, their business will finally grow. But Seong-jun immediately refuses. He feels uncomfortable being on camera and already feels uneasy about touching strangers every day as part of his work. The thought of doing it in front of an audience makes him even more uncomfortable. Hearing this, Bo-mi becomes furious. She reminds him that his job is only to perform massages, while she has to manage the household and the business at the same time. She warns him that if he refuses, she will leave with their son, Min-ho. The next day, while Bo-mi is busy serving customers, 2 police officers arrive. They explain that they received a report claiming the clinic is operating illegally. According to them, the business license has expired and must be renewed before they can continue operating. Bo-mi immediately suspects that Ji-ho is behind this, trying to get revenge because he is unhappy with the clinic's growing success. The pressure becomes overwhelming. She has no income, debt collectors are closing in, and now 2 men named Moon and Park show up at her house to demand payment. When Seong-jun hears that his wife is in danger, he rushes home to deal with the situation. He is shocked to learn what Bo-mi has done. She once told him their money was enough to open the shop, but now he realizes it was never true. Even so, he tries to take responsibility and settle the debt himself. That is when he learns the full amount includes massive interest and penalties, turning it into an overwhelming sum. If they fail to pay, the collectors will go as far as taking their son from school. Hearing this leaves both of them terrified, forcing Seong-jun to finally use his abilities without letting his wife know. Moon and Park eventually regain consciousness and choose to flee after what Seong-jun did to them. Terrified, they report everything to their boss, who soon arrives at the scene. Seeing how badly his men were handled, he decides that next week he will personally come to collect the debt when the shop opens again. Not long after, Bo-mi contacts Hee-won to apologize for closing the shop over the past few days. She also asks her to reschedule the coverage. However, Hee-won no longer seems interested, since there are now many other forms of entertainment she finds more appealing to report on. Later that night, Bo-mi vents her frustrations to her husband. The weight of everything she is carrying feels unbearable. Her body aches all over, and she asks Seong-jun to massage her back to ease the pain. Without hesitation, he uses his acupuncture skills and presses several points along her back. But instead of relief, Bo-mi feels something strange happening in her chest. She senses that her body has changed and that her chest has grown to the point where her bra no longer fits. Seong-jun explains that he only stimulated the blood flow in her upper back to improve circulation, but the effect can also change the shape of her body. Hearing this sparks a new idea in Bo-mi's mind. She immediately calls Hee-won and claims that her acupuncture treatment can enhance body shape. Shocked by what she hears, Hee-won quickly agrees to visit again and cover the story. When Hee-won arrives at the clinic, she secretly sets up hidden cameras around the room. She even prepares to experience the treatment herself, hiding another camera inside her bag. As Seong-jun begins the session, Hee-won senses something unusual. The speed of his movements and the precision of the pressure points make it clear that this is not an ordinary technique. It is a level of skill far beyond that of a normal practitioner. Elsewhere, Dae-ho confronts Yong-ho, demanding that he keep his promise to free his family now that the Seojin construction group has been dealt with. Yong-ho calmly reminds him that the job is not finished yet and tells him to remain patient, because his family's fate is still in his hands. Yong-ho continues to take advantage of Dae-ho's martial skills, handing him a list of people who have refused to relocate. He orders Dae-ho to obtain their signatures or fingerprints, no matter what it takes. Days pass and Moon and Park return to Bo-mi's shop to collect the unpaid debt. This time, they act far more aggressively, trashing the place because their boss is coming to personally handle the situation. What none of them expect is that their boss turns out to be Jin So, Seong-jun's former fellow disciple. The unexpected reunion fills both of them with emotion. It has been 7 long years since they last saw each other, ever since Jin So chose to leave Mount Taebae. Seong-jun is shocked to learn that Jin So is now a loan shark, and even more surprised to hear that his wife's debt has grown from 600,000 won to 3 million won. Jin So explains that he spent most of his life in the mountains, and people like them struggle to survive in the modern city. He saw how desperate people could become for money and slowly built his wealth by taking advantage of that desperation. Jin So is also surprised to learn that Bo-mi is one of his debtors. Still, he tells Seong-jun not to worry about it, saying he could never collect money from the wife of his own brother in training. He then asks why Seong-jun ended up opening an acupuncture clinic instead of becoming the Grand Master of Mount Taebae, especially since that was the path meant for him. Seong-jun explains that when Jin So left the mountain, he followed after him, hoping to find him. Despite Master Lee trying to stop him, he believed the world beyond the mountain could lead him to his friend. Instead, he found himself lost in the city until he encountered Bo-mi, who was drunk and being harassed by 2 men in an alley. He stepped in to protect her, and from that moment, their bond began. Eventually, they fell in love and got married. After their marriage, Seong-jun realized he could not return to the mountains with his wife. He chose to stay in the city and use his skills to help others instead. He never revealed his true identity to Bo-mi and asked Jin So to keep his past a secret. One day, while Bo-mi is at the shop, an elderly man arrives. He turns out to be Master Lee. His sudden appearance shocks Seong-jun, who quickly brings him to the balcony to speak in private. Master Lee explains that he did not come only to see him. He brings news from the Grandmaster of Fajra, warning that the Grandmaster of Changbai has escaped from North Korea. The only person capable of stopping him is Seong-jun. Master Lee also admits his disappointment in Seong-jun for leaving the mountain, yet he still believes that Seong-jun is the only one worthy of carrying the title of Taebae Grandmaster. Later that night, Bo-mi vents her frustrations to her husband. The weight of everything she is carrying feels unbearable. Jin Seo finally reveals the true reason he left the mountain 7 years ago. He knew that only Seong-jun had the strength to face the Grandmaster of Changbai. Meanwhile, Dae-ho continues carrying out his orders, forcing property owners to sign documents that sell their land cheaply to the Taiping Construction Group. The next day, shop owners and property holders across Jir are shaken by an announcement stating that their land must be sold to the Taiping Construction Group. What angers them most is the compensation, which is far below market value. Refusing to accept this, they decide to fight back and choose Bo-mi, who happens to be there, as the leader of their resistance against the project. Not long after, Bo-mi leads the people of Jir in a public protest, standing firmly against the city's forced redevelopment. When Yong-ho happens to pass by and sees what is happening, his anger explodes. He blames Dae-ho for failing to control the situation and lashes out at him for his incompetence. Later, Jin So meets with Bo-mi and brings her several gifts as an apology for his subordinate's actions. They spend time talking together, sharing drinks as the night goes on. Before the gathering can end, Seong-jun offers to step out and buy more drinks so they can continue spending time together. But while Seong-jun is gone, Dae-ho suddenly appears and violently grabs Bo-mi by the neck. Seeing his sister in danger, Jin So immediately steps in, but he is quickly overpowered by Dae-ho. When Seong-jun returns, he rushes in to save him. Jin Seo warns that the man standing before them is a master of Changbai martial arts, and that his mission is to eliminate Bo-mi, who now leads the resistance against the city's redevelopment. Seongjun demands to know why Dae-ho has come. If the goal was simply to get a signature, he should have come directly to him, since the shop is legally under his name. But because Dae-ho has chosen violence, Seongjun decides he can no longer stay silent and prepares to stop him. A fierce battle between the three masters breaks out. Years without training have weakened Seongjun, leaving him at a disadvantage against Dae-ho. The fight turns brutal, and Dae-ho nearly cripples him. Everything changes when Min-ho cries out, begging Dae-ho not to hurt his father. Hearing the child's plea, Dae-ho finally steps back and leaves, promising to return for the shop's official seal. The next day, Dae-ho reports to Yong-ho that only one person still refuses to sign the property agreement. However, that person has vanished since the fight the night before. The news infuriates Yong-ho, who demands to know how Dae-ho could let him escape. He immediately orders his men to search for Seongjun. Back at home, Bo-mi grows increasingly worried when her husband does not return and leaves no message behind. In-so tries to calm her, assuring her that Seongjun will be fine. Before leaving, Seongjun had told him that he needed to return to the mountains for a while and promised he would come back soon. Seongjun eventually reunites with Master Lee, hoping to learn the secret techniques of Taebae boxing that he may not yet have mastered. However, Master Lee, filled with frustration, tells him that there is nothing more to teach and orders him to leave at once. Day turns into night as Seongjun remains kneeling outside his master's room. By morning, Master Lee finally softens and allows him inside. He explains that there is truly nothing left to teach, because Seongjun has already mastered every skill required to become a true grandmaster. At his own headquarters, Yong-ho is visited by a government official who once hired him to handle the situation in Jir. After the man leaves, Hee-won quietly observes from a distance. She senses that something about this entire project is deeply wrong and continues watching Yong-ho closely. As time passes, Seongjun finally begins to understand the true essence of the martial arts he has studied. He reflects on his past and apologizes for his stubbornness and for leaving Mount Taebae all those years ago. Master Lee also comes to realize the immaturity Seongjun once carried in his youth. Before parting, Master Lee introduces him to a Grandmaster of Phagra who turns out to be Hee-won herself. Master Lee then reveals important information. The Grandmaster of Changbai has fled North Korea after being branded a traitor. When he arrived in Jir with his family, they were captured by the leader of the Taiping group, who had been hired by someone within the government to clean up the chaos in the city. Dae-ho was forced to carry out these orders. Hee-won urges Seongjun to step in, explaining that he is the only one capable of stopping Dae-ho. Before long, Seongjun arrives at the Taiping group's headquarters in search of Dae-ho. Instead of listening to him, the men there immediately attack. Seongjun fights through dozens of them on his own, until he finally comes face to face with Dae-ho, who has been waiting for him all along. A fierce battle breaks out between the two. In the end, Seongjun manages to strike a critical acupuncture point on Dae-ho's body. The technique amplifies internal energy, but if overused, it can cause serious internal damage. Seongjun apologizes for what he had to do and explains that Dae-ho will recover as long as he can control his energy. As Seongjun turns to leave, Jong-ho suddenly attacks him from behind, trying to take the shop seal he is carrying. Before he can succeed, Dae-ho regains his strength and knocks Jong-ho unconscious. Seongjun then assures Dae-ho that his family is safe. A grandmaster from Phagra has already gone to rescue them from where they were being held. As the story reaches its end, Seongjun's acupuncture clinic becomes more successful than ever. Many women now come seeking natural ways to improve their bodies, and Jin-so, along with his men, helps Bo-mi manage the growing business. On television, news breaks that the redevelopment project in Jir has been officially shut down after evidence of corruption within the government is exposed. Hee-won receives recognition for her bravery in uncovering the truth and revealing the crimes committed by the Taiping group. So the moral of the story is never underestimate a quiet life, a calm master, or a simple massage, because chaos, karma, and flying fists can show up faster than your next acupuncture session.